Okay, go ahead. And we are live at Bellworks in Holmdel, New Jersey. Good morning, everyone. I'm Terrence Wall. I'm one of the volunteers of the Holmdel Chamber of Commerce, an all-volunteer chamber. If you look behind, you'll see business, nonprofit, government, and wellness. We're blessed with fantastic guests today and our audience as well. And we're going to go around the room in a minute so you can introduce yourselves, both from the public sector and private sector and the educational sector. Thankfully, we have our newest generation upcoming here. And we want to give a shout out to Ralph Zucker and the team of Somerset Development for the fantastic work that they do in this gorgeous reimagined building that was imagined many, many years ago. So I want to thank you for all the fantastic work you're doing and helping build a community and do great things for all the folks in this area. So we're going to get started. We have a wonderful team today, and so appropriate that we're in Bellworks because we have so much history here and invention, and we're talking about both invention and reinvention today with Linda Lautenberg and Judy Schoenberg, who are Harvard grads, a Harvard University graduate and Harvard MBA. So we're bringing some time and talent to bear to have a great conversation on a company that they started. I'm going to share a little bit of detail. Judy Schoenberg is a women's career strategist, and Linda is a return-to-work expert. They're co-founders of EvolveMe, and you're going to learn about that today. It's a career development company for women in midlife. And as we were talking a little bit earlier, it also bridges to the generations just getting going and other generations and thinking about what they're doing, about leveling up and rethinking where they're at and where they're going and how to get there. We're going to talk about that. But first, let's go around the room so our guests can also know who they're with today. So, Jeannie, if you'd be so kind, we'll grab that microphone. If you could give us your 30 seconds and let us know who you are, what you're doing. And welcome back for the folks that come here regularly. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Carrie Kuskowski from The Connection. We're a managed IT security.
Just turn that on. Thanks. No. And by the way, we are streaming live on Facebook, so be sure to tag, share, and share all this information you're going to hear today. Go ahead. Thank you.
Good morning. Carrie Kuskowski from The Connection. We're a managed IT security and service provider located in Hazlet, New Jersey. And I do want to mention our symposium this year is it's a business symposium. It's at the Holiday Inn, May 19th from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. We will have speakers and vendors. It revolves all around what you need for your business. And one of our speakers is here today, Gerald Scharfenberger. But if you'd like more information, please call or text me, and I will pass these out to everybody here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. And Carrie's events are always very well attended. So if you're up for good networking, make sure you're there.
Good morning. I'm Brian Robbins, a resident of Holmdel and trustee of an organization that we just recently formed, a nonprofit called Preservation of Potter's Farm, which is established to fight the use variance that's been requested by the United Methodist Communities to build a 105-bed, I'm calling it a sprawling dementia center on that property. And we're in the final stages of the zoning board, and it's critical and important that we oppose it. We have a website on rallyup.com, which you can go to and hopefully donate. If not, we also have a petition at change.org. But most important is to pay attention to the zoning board meetings because they're at the point where they're going to be looking for community feedback. And this is the time to really show that there's a broad-based opposition to it, not just a few residents in a nearby community. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. Do you want to introduce your name? Okay.
Hi, my name is Paul Thurston, and I'm the owner of T Marketing LLC, and I'm here to just give support for everybody and hopefully maybe make some connections. I am currently looking for a job, so this could be good for me, but then again, maybe not. I don't know why.
Thanks, Paul.
Hi, I'm Lisa Cruz, a tax accountant at Eisner Amper, and I'm always looking for people that are interested in joining us. And I'm a resident of Holmdel, and I work from home, and hopefully we'll get to meet some other people that might be interested.
Thank you for coming.
Good morning. My name is Pete Myers. I'm co-owner of Swing Loose Indoor Golf right down the hall. So if you're looking for lessons or new golf clubs or an event space for your team or family, please look us up. Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you.
And swingloose.com, is that the website name?
SwingLooseGolf.com.
Swingloosegolf.com. Thank you.
And I want to thank you for supporting the community. Really, you do a lot to support the community. It makes a difference. Thank you.
Good morning, Assemblyman.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jerry Schaffenberger. I'm the Assemblyman for Legislative District 13, which includes Holmdel and Hazlitt and Middletown and runs from Aberdeen down to, well, now it runs down to West Long Branch. So if you guys have any complaints about the state, I can give you Phil Murphy's. No, you can contact my office, okay? Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dorothea. I am the owner of Zando Financial, a full-service financial planning firm, as well as the co-founder of the Victor Zando Foundation, a local nonprofit.
Good morning, everyone. This is Chong-In Liu. I'm the owner and director of Liu Music in Middletown. I'm also the president of Shore Music Educators Association. I'm the resident of Holmdel. I was the Board of Education member for 3 terms. So very happy and very proud of myself to serve our community, especially the children. And I worked 3 years with Mr. Wall.
That's right. Welcome. Thank you for your service, by the way,
Thank you. Good
Chung.
morning.
Hi, Al Aloisi. I'm also a resident of Holmdel, and I'm your independent insurance broker. And I shop around for you. That's what it means to you, is that I find the best rates for you and anybody you deal with, businesses, small business, etc. I also can help people with on Medicare and people who are becoming 65. I'm certified in that area as well.
And this modest Renaissance man also is a tennis pro, and he is our pianist du jour extraordinaire in Bellworks. Thank you always, Al.
Yeah, well, he's right. I coach Monmouth Regional High School varsity girls and boys. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tracy Julian. I'm the managing partner of a law firm called Pashman Stein Walder Hayden. We're lucky enough to have offices here in this building. So I'm not only a resident of Holmdel, but I also have a business here. And I'm here this morning to meet all of you, and I'm interested in supporting each other's businesses and assessing how we can help one another. So it's nice to meet all of you.
Thank you, Tracy.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle. I'm Director of Recreation over at Care One at Holmdel, right over the woods. We're a long-term care and post-acute center for residents from the hospitals, and we take care of everybody, and we make them well, and we are safe. So if you need services for your loved one, please give us a call.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Elliot Cohen. I'm a business education teacher at Holmdel High School, as well as the internship coordinator. One of the things that we're looking to do and why we attend the meeting each month is to connect with local businesses to see if they'd be interested in taking on some of our high-performing seniors for next year to have an internship at their place of business so they can get a learning experience. With me today are 2 of our high-performing students. I'll let them introduce themselves, and they'll tell you a little bit about themselves.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bella. I'm a senior at Holmdel High School. I'm the vice president of the National Business Honor Society, and I'm going to be studying finance at Fordham next year, so I'm super excited to have this opportunity and learn a little bit more about business prior to that. So thank you.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Alana Cushing. I'm also a senior at Holmdel High School, and I have an internship at CME Associates, which is an engineering and consulting firm. And next year, I'm going to be attending Colorado School of Mines to major in mechanical engineering with a minor in aerospace engineering. And as always, I want to thank you for this opportunity to attend these meetings.
Thank you for flying in here this morning.
That's awesome. Eric?
I thought I came in late enough to skip, so thank you, Jeannie Wall. Thank you, Terrence and Jeannie, for pioneering this. This has been an incredible experience. It's so great that people get together and can network, meet people. This is what the concept of Bellworks was all about. I'm very excited to see Linda Lautenberg, longtime friend, great community member, woman who did a tremendous amount when COVID first broke out, connecting our charity, Hope for Children, that I run with the community, doing a lot of good stuff. For those of you who don't know, my name's Eric Heinz. I was the mayor during this whole build-out, so I'm very passionate about this building. Spent a lot of time with Ralph Zucker. When I come in here now, I'm just simply blown away. You know, there was a lot of naysayers, a lot of negativity, a lot of people who didn't believe. And if you ever feel down or doubted, but you're positive that something is the right thing, stick with your guts, because this is what this is really all about. I cannot tell you the hate mail that I got as mayor. I cannot tell you the negativity that was brought. And when you know something's right, you supported it, this is what it turns out to be. So very happy to be here. My real job, I run a wealth management team for Merrill Lynch. I've been doing it for 20 years out of Summit, New Jersey. But I love all this other stuff. It's great to see a lot of faces, a lot of things that we've been able to team with the high school. Some of the special needs kids have gotten jobs here and so forth. So we're continuing to connect and have fun. Thank you, Jeannie.
Thank you, Eric. And I'm Jeannie Wall. I'm the owner of Hometown News, LLC, and Media Maven. And I publish for Tap Into. I cover news for Holmdel, Colts Neck, Middletown, Hazlitt, Keyport. And in 2021, I had over 70,000 different readers on my news site. So it's a great platform for advertising your business, for community relations, public relations, and branding. So if you're interested, give me a call. Thank you.
Thank you. Did we get? Is there someone else? In front?
I thought I could get away with it.
Nobody gets away.
Okay, my name is Azira Asa. I'm here to support this wonderful event, which brings everyone across our community together. Of course, Jeannie and her husband. So I started here at the Bellworks many years ago as an engineer, and continued across my journey to many other aspects of marketing, business development, and currently I'm working in a nonprofit in the city supporting reforestation of Brazilian forests. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Miriam Buresh from Primerica Financial Services. I'm a financial planner and helping individual and business owners to achieve financial independence. And maybe we'll help out with the internship, because we do, as our firm basically offers part-time or some kind of internship for students, so we can talk after that. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Doreen Regal.
Hi, I'm Doreen Regal, the transition coordinator for Holmdel School District, mainly the high school students, but I work with students that have disabilities that maybe need more hands-on learning experiences to get to employment. And I have to thank Eric, because he's not always here. I mean, you guys always have been so helpful, but Eric was the ones that we met when this was all getting going, and he got us connected right with Millennium Group with the mail. And if you're ever around here, it's the high school kids that deliver the mail. And I hear so many companies say the joy that you get from somebody that's so excited to see you and say hello and validate you is wonderful. So I think it's always you get more than you give when you try to give people with disabilities an experience or an opportunity. So I thank everybody. I hope that maybe for the summer of some of the businesses, we like to have our kids have a practice interviews with employers. The more comfortable they get with speaking and when interacting with different people is a wonderful thing. So if you can give Jeannie your contact for me, and maybe we could set up a day during our summer program so the kids practice interviews, that would be wonderful. And then you'll fall in love with our kids and hire them. So we have a plan in mind for that. So that's always, but over easy, we have so many businesses, and I'll just say Bayshore Hospital, this community's just been embracing, and they reach out even through the pandemic. Bayshore Hospital is taking us over easy. We have somebody as a hostess. We just had somebody exit yesterday that went to paid employment, and our district hired. So we're getting there. We have politicians. My last thing is we're getting to employment, but we need a little help in figuring out transportation. So I don't know if politicians that are here could possibly work with us and figure out maybe different ways that we can get opportunities for our kids. Okay, that would be wonderful. I think I hit on everybody. I gotta get everybody involved. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, everybody got this?
Thank you. I think we're solving a bunch of problems. It's not even 9:30 yet.
Thank you so much for everything you do, really.
Yeah.
Small miracles every day.
Really, truly is. You guys ready to hit the go button? Great. We're gonna get right to changing the programming to two very powerful women, Harvard grads that have an incredible story to say. I'm going to give some quick points I want you to be aware of, and then we're going to jump right into it. These gals are co-founders of EvolveMe. It's a career development company for women in midlife. EvolveMe works with groups of women in midlife looking to relaunch, reinvent, or level up their careers with companies invested in attracting and retaining top female talent. They have a proprietary DARE method of career reinvention. Their clients that land new roles, they call it life-changing. They call it the best professional investment they've ever made. Very powerful testament. EvolveMe has been featured in Forbes.com, CNN, Reuters, and so many other outlets, including many podcasts, especially popular podcasts like this one right here.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly, at the Holmdel ChamberCast. So we're going to dive right into it then, aren't we? Why did you start EvolveMe, and why focusing on women in midlife?
So, well, is this working?
I hope so.
Yay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Terrence, for having us here. And I just wanted to, it's like amazing. I was just listening to everybody introducing each other, introducing themselves. And it's such a room full of people that are so passionate about the community and giving. Like every single person here like a room full of people that are giving. And that's so much what Holmdel is about and what it stands for. And Eric, Eric, for example, is a prime example. Judy is from Brooklyn. She came in to do this event, and I was just telling her that I was thinking back when this was just empty space. It was just, nobody knew what it was going to be, and what BellWorks has become, what a center of our community. It's just amazing, all that's here, and so many people here also helped out during the pandemic. Was definitely Eric, but also Jeannie Wall. I was also told Judy that she was so instrumental in getting the word out for a lot of the support that was being given to our local restaurants and healthcare providers. So shout out for you too, Jeannie, and Hope for Children. Anyway, so EvolveMe. So Judy and I come at this work from two different angles. So I had a pretty long career break. I was working on Wall Street. My husband and I moved to New Jersey with our first of 3 children. And at the time, it just, this was almost, you won't believe this, it was almost pre-internet, right? So there wasn't really any way to work a 12-hour day job and have babies at home and commute into the city. So I took a break from the workforce that I thought would be, a year or two. 16 years later, the first baby's getting ready to go to college, and I realized that I forgot about myself. I had been really busy doing a lot of things, taking care of my family, doing a lot of things in the community, but all of a sudden I realized that I was slowly working myself out of a job, and I was scared because I thought, I worked really hard for the career I had, and now it's too late. I'm in my late 40s, and nobody's going to hire me. I don't know what I want to do. I don't want to be an investment banker, and that's kind of where it stopped, and I was really stuck. Judy, on the other hand, had a career, a lengthy, she'll tell more about what she was doing, but she wanted to make a change. And again, it's kind of like, I don't want to turn 50 here, but is it too late to make a change? And we ended up meeting at a program for women that were we were hired to run a program for women returning into the workforce in the social impact sector. And it was through a startup. The startup ran out of money, and so Judy and I wanted to continue this work, and that's when we started EvolveMe. So the reason we focus on, and it's really, we created the program that we wished would have been available for us when we were looking to change careers or reinvent our careers in midlife. And the reason we focus on midlife is there's so many things that have happened by midlife that can be career disruptors. Either our kids are getting older and they need us home more, so we need to work less, or they're getting more independent and we are able to go back to work and work more. Or maybe we've been working in the same industry for 20 years because it kind of just works for our family, and then all of a sudden we wake up one day and say, I don't really like doing this, but I'm stuck because I have a million other balls in the air, and so I'll just keep doing this because it works for everybody else. Or divorce happens, or health problems happen. There's a million things that have happened to us by midlife, but we end up feeling stuck because we feel like it's too late, or a million other things. So we bring women together in training cohorts to support each other and to give them the structure and the tools they need to figure out what they want to do next, and to support each other in getting there and getting accountability and structure.
Tell us about your story too.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me here. It's great to be in Linda's hometown that I've been to before, but just to be part of a community setting here is just really wonderful. And I loved hearing all of your own backgrounds. So much of it, what you said, resonated with me in terms of your community work and small business ownership and nonprofit work. My background, I had a long career in the nonprofit sector, about 2 decades worth of that, and 15 years of my career was spent at Girl Scouts of the USA. So I know that there's some women here who were Girl Scouts, because accomplished women, when we bring them together, you always find a Girl Scout or two in the crowd. So as Linda said, I had started there right out of graduate school and had a great career there. Had I raised my 2 kids while I was working. I had a lot of support at the organization. And then when I was looking down the pike a few years ago and I saw that big milestone birthday coming up at 50, and I said, I don't want to be here when I'm 50. And that was just something that I decided that I had, that I had such success. I was so lucky to leave at a high, and I decided to take a leap. And I was lucky also to be able to do that, and just to say, like, okay, I want a next chapter. And I'm not sure what that looks like yet, but I know that I want to leverage all the experience and the skills. I worked in program development and research and marketing and branding and fundraising, and I had amassed all these skills, and I knew that I wanted to take them and use them in a different way. And I wasn't quite sure what that was, and I'd never imagined becoming an entrepreneur. I had been in the nonprofit sector for my whole career, and realized meeting Linda, and relationships are everything, and we really hit it off in how we work together. I couldn't imagine doing this with anybody, and definitely not doing it solo. I like to work in community and in collaboration, and I want to thank you all for showing up and being here this morning too, because we've been working on Zoom mostly, and just getting out into in-person events now, and just to have an audience and to hear directly from you all and see you in 3D, 4D, whatever we're in, is just quite amazing. So thank you for also, just showing up this morning. So yeah, fast forward, I took this leap about 6 years ago. We started our company right before the pandemic as an in-person company in New York City, and now we're virtual. We became a digital company overnight and reach women all across the country, and now also work with companies to support them in the talent shortage, right, that exists right now, and bringing women back in who want all different types of role, full-time, part-time, freelance, all of the above. So yeah.
Thank you for that. I have a question for you. If for women who are thinking of a change or relaunching, where do they start? And a bit of a variant on that is part of it not knowing or realizing that because they're so busy, Linda referenced that earlier, they're so busy, there's so many things happening, so many balls in the air, that is it also a method of pausing to kind of take your inventory and think, that you realize you may want to reimagine, level up your career. So where do you start? And as part of it, is it having that realization that, you know what, and you may be very happy. It may just be a different path. Like, where do you start in that process?
Sure, that's a great question, and you are already hitting the nail on the head when you said inventory, which is, so often in the day-to-day, we're all working, we're all busy, we're in our routine. You don't stop and pause and think about, what do I really love to do? What am I doing now that really lights me up, that gives me energy? What have I done in the past that I'm no longer doing now, that I kind of missed, that I want to bring forward? Maybe it was even something in childhood that you loved to do that you let go So yeah, in this time when you've decided that, like, this doesn't feel right anymore, I want to make a change, the first place to start is really self-reflection, right? Because nowhere along the process, not in high school or college or even before that, does anybody actually, direct you and say, you need to think about your strengths. You need to think about what you feel like you're really good at. You need to think about how you want to contribute your talents and your gifts, because you do have them, right? And spending time and taking that pause to identify them is so critical, and that's what we create in EvolveMe, because there is no path for that. You can. You can't really Google your way out of this, we like to say. So career reinvention, or whether you're coming right out of college or in midlife, is really an inside job. So it starts with that self-reflection process. It starts with asking yourself questions and taking that inventory. What are my skills? What are my talents? What are my strengths? Don't focus on your, what people have told you your weaknesses are, right? In performance reviews, because you need to really work from your strengths, and other people will fill in the gaps and compliment you. Don't worry about your weaknesses so much. That's what we like to say. And think about how you want to spend your time, right? Think about whether you want, need the energy from people, whether you want to work from home, whether you want to work in a team or solo, and really, we say, like, take the time at the beginning, because we have women coming to us and saying, I want to make a change. Can you help me with my resume? Can you look at my resume? And we say, what do you want to do? And they say, we're not sure. So if you don't, spend that critical time up front, and it's hard work, right? It's hard work. It's like, thinking work. You have to, commit to it. It's easier to do it with other people. That's why we do all of our work in groups. But you really need to spend the time up front to get that clarity of what skills you want to bring forward. And a lot of them are transferable skills. We talk a lot about skills that you've taken from volunteer work, from nonprofit roles you've had, from paid work, from caregiving work. You have a lot of, communication skills, leadership skills, social and emotional skills outside of even your technical area of expertise that you can use to pivot and you can use to make a change.
So go ahead, Linda.
No, I was going to say, in fact, right now, coming out of, the health crisis and everything, what we're seeing a lot now is that companies are more focused, especially for leadership positions. They're much more focused on certain transferable skills than they are on the very particular technical skills. They're looking for agility, adaptability, quick learning, thinking on your feet, things like that. We had one woman come out of our cohort that she had a legal and education background. She took a job with a tech company, which she never in a million years would have applied for. And once she was on the job, she wrote back to us and said, 90% of the skills I'm using are all the transferable skills that I sussed out in the program. I'm only using 10% technical skills. And she's at a tech company. So it's just those people like to think of them as soft skills, but they're really important. And not just for people with more experience, in midlife, but for younger people too. It really matters. Think about what people come to you for in your day-to-day. What do people tell you you're good at? Because that's all important.
So for folks that don't have the background of EvolveMe and that understanding, a question they may have, regardless of what their status today, is what would be the number one reason or contemplation that's holding people back from change?
Yep. So again, it tends to be an inside job. So the number one thing that tends to be holding, we work with women in midlife, but in general holding people back, is all those voices in your head that are telling you why you can't, return to the workforce, make a career change, try for a certain field that you think maybe, they wouldn't want me there. It's the, telling yourself, I'm too old, it's too late for me to launch a new company or to start in a new field, or they're going to want somebody with more technical skills, and so they won't even look at me, or looking at starting to go on job boards and getting really focused on all the companies when they're posting jobs will list, like, it's their wish list. They'll list all these things that a candidate needs to have. But you know what? You don't need to check all those boxes. But we get fixated on them and say, if I can't check all the boxes, it's not even worth trying. You know, or maybe you get the courage to stick your big toe out, as Judy and I were just talking about a friend that did this, and you get a no, and then you're like, see, I'm not meant for the job market anymore. It's too late for me. So it's those voices in our head that like just tell us we're not good enough, we have nothing to add, my skills are outdated. So that is again why this work is really hard to do by yourself, because if you just start sending resumes out into the ether, where an algorithm is basically deciding whether or not anybody is going to look at your resume, and then nothing's happening, now you're going into a negative cycle where you're not getting the feedback you're looking for, and so it's reinforcing every negative thought you have in your mind. Whereas if you can get together with a group of people that are also looking to make a change or get that first job or what have you, they can be they see you the way you need to be seen and can mirror back all those positive things about you and keep your confidence up and keep you moving forward and give you accountability.
Judy?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say it's so important to surround yourself with people who really believe in you, right? And people who are, believe in your success, because especially if you're making a change, you might have, your partner or your best friend that are really invested in seeing you in a certain way. They've always known you as a lawyer. What do you mean you want to be a gardener now, or what have you? So surround yourself with people who are also, in the same mode as you are, who are also have a positive growth mindset, who believe that, you can adapt and change at any age and stage. You can learn new skills and grow. So, make sure that, they say like the 5 people that you spend your most time with really shape how you can think and feel about yourself and your possibilities. So, check who you're spending your time with, having coffee with.
Actually, there's one other thing, and this is particular to women and especially moms or caregivers of any, because we actually work with women now that are taking breaks to care for parents. This is pretty women specific, but we've got a lot of giving men out here too. We always put ourselves last. So if you've got all the, in the status quo, if you're able to take care of everybody around you, you're probably going to just keep doing that. You will always put somebody else's needs first. If you're a mom or caring for a parent, like you'll take your child to the doctor for a hangnail and stay at home with the flu, and not take yourself to the doctor for the flu. You'll always like put other people first. So that's one of the other tricks, is you've got to get yourself on your calendar.
Okay. I have a question that as you're talking that brings it to, we're talking about midlife, and also we're talking about different generations as well. Students, when they're thinking about a career path or what they're going to be and the expectations of what they should be, what thoughts might you have for students who, for example, change their major or may be reluctant to, they may be studying for a certain path, but they really want to be a jazz pianist, or they want to be an engineer, although they're pursuing law. What might they be thinking about? And some folks don't know what they want to do yet, and that's okay. So what kind of advice would you give to students that are, they're almost at, there may be expectations of them, they really want to pursue that which makes them happy and successful, and maybe doing something that would appear to be a successful path, but it's not their where they genuinely feel? Like what kind of advice would you give to that student, managing expectations and reality, and so they can pursue their passions that may be different than, for example, what their family expectations are, or their friends and the folks that they're growing up with? What kind of advice would you share with them to pursue their true path?
Yeah, that's a really great question, and I have to say, something that was said earlier, right when we began, which was like, follow your gut. It's really the best advice that you can give yourself. So often what happens is that we're following a path that somebody told us we should, whether it's our parents' expectations of us, or the prestige or the status, or for financial reasons, and we abandon the things that really make us happy and the things that are really core to who we are. And what happens is that it never really goes away, right? So that could resurface. What we see is some of that those college students who abandoned, their passion for music, let's just say, that comes back 20, 30 years later. Now, and so like it's almost like your dream never dies, right? And it's not like you have to necessarily follow it maybe right out of college. If there's other things that interest you too, like we see lots of people having, side hustles and side gigs, and like now the portfolio career, is really something like later on in life that is popular. So there's time. I think I would say like follow your gut, and there's also time in your, your career journey is a journey, right? It's not a linear path. So even if you decide to choose something out of college, it doesn't mean that you have to stay in that path the whole time, or you're going to be deemed unsuccessful. You can get off the path at different points, and you're not going to be seen as a failure, because people stay in jobs now like average 2 or 3 years. So, if you feel like there's something in you that's telling you like to try it, like, go to law school, like maybe you want to try being a lawyer, and if you have to abandon that, 5-10 years down the line, like it's okay, right? And so like a lot of the messages we get too are that only the linear path is the path to success, and and we find that doesn't work for people. To think about your career as evolving and changing and transforming as you transform, because you too, your values will change over time too, and that's a lot of what we see. And the best kind of research you can do, let's say like, for any role, like if you're considering it in college, in a field, is talk to the people who do those jobs. That's the best advice, is like you can read about what those jobs are, you can have the idea in your head, but go out and start talking to people who actually do that work on a day-to-day basis. Learn about what they do. That people are so open to having conversations with you now, especially remotely. You can talk to anybody anywhere for 15 minutes or a half hour, and people are really, at the end of the day, really want to help. So I wish somebody told me that in college, to like talk to some people like in the nonprofit sector, or talk to some. We don't really know the range of roles that exist, especially right coming out of college. And so like if you have an idea, I would like ask ask people ask, I'm sure like you have tons of resources, and among your friends, parents even, that could help you. And of course in your college relations department as well. So like I think the mindset, it comes back to like what Linda was saying, the mindset of like that it's not a linear path. There's time to try the things that you love, and like follow your gut.
Thank you. Linda, you want to speak to that?
Sure. The other thing I was going to say is to, in the moment too, while you're thinking about what it is that you might like to do, pay attention to what you're doing day to day, whether it's at school, in high school, in college, in your job now, in your volunteer work, in your personal life. Pay attention to the things, to whatever you're doing, what parts of those things do you like doing, and what do you just, you have to drag yourself to do them. That's very telling, because you might be working, at a marketing firm, and there are certain creative aspects you like doing and some other things that you don't like doing. You might be able to narrow down and take all that into consideration for your next job. So and we even talk about sometimes if you're looking backwards, look backwards on your career and different jobs that you've had in the past. Pick out what you liked and what you didn't. That's very informative going forward. But it's very often we find that the women that we end up working with that come to us, if they've been working for 20 years, it's very common either to have just fallen into that first career. I mean, that's what happened to me. I mean, I ended up in finance because I wanted to live in New York. I grew up in Minnesota. I did not plan a finance career. Or they were trying to meet somebody else's expectations.
You grew up in Minnesota.
I did.
So
Can
do
you hear it? Minnesota?
No, yeah. Hey.
Vikings fan here.
So do you still wonder why we close school when there's half an inch of snow on the ground instead of 4 feet, like in Minnesota?
I don't like the cold.
That's why I moved east.
I'm fine.
I have a two-part question. You talked about the women you're working with EvolveMe. Based on your experience, what are women looking for in the marketplace today, that as they're seeing it? And also, an adjunct to that is we're talking about the career change on on the personal side, but can you also share what kind of work you do with corporations so they can attract and retain key female talent moving forward today?
Sure, great, yeah. So the world of work is changing rapidly, right? And everybody is reimagining work, and just being here feels like a reimagination of, 2 events. So that's great. But in terms of what we see, women really wanting out of work now, one is flexibility, and I think that the pandemic really kind of pushed us over the edge of what we, were hearing from women for many, many years who are working, that employers need to understand and do now, because it was all laid out in the open, that women have other responsibilities, and to have the flexibility in their careers is primary. They need flexibility, and I think employers are really responding to that, and we're not going to see flexibility going away anytime soon, even if people have to go back in physical spaces to the workplace. And women are telling us they really want employers that understand them. So they want employers that understand their whole lives, right? And who can be empathic to the different, caregiving or other interests that they have, and that they want to be able to bring all of themselves to work. They don't want to have to leave. For many years, I left my mom identity role at home, because that was not something that people necessarily wanted to hear about so much. So,
at a women and girls organization.
Yeah, well, that was difficult. That's something that I think will be also changing, right? And women really want more connection with each other at work. We're doing, you ask about the work that we're doing with companies now, and a lot of that is creating spaces within companies and working with women's employee resource groups of companies, where women can be vulnerable with each other and share some of the challenges that they're facing, and also connect with women across levels and roles across the organization or the company. Because often, we work in silos. You don't get to meet a VP in another department. Now that, especially, in virtual spaces, it's much easier to do that, even connecting across regional offices. And whenever we do workshops with companies, women are always telling us that they want more time, more mentoring and connection from other women that they wouldn't necessarily get to speak to. And there's a lot of cross-generational dialogue that can happen with women who are, more entry level, for coming into roles in the first time, and women who are senior. For example, one of the topics that come up that women really want help with in the workplace is imposter syndrome. So some of you might be familiar with that term of and it happens to women either at early stage career, or even, the more accomplished, it's the number of accomplishments that you have doesn't make a difference. You still go in feeling like, I'm not good enough, I'm a fraud. People are going to find me out. And when women hear from each other that other people who are even more accomplished than them face that, that opens up, a dialogue that is not always possible within companies, because you don't want to make yourself, vulnerable to in front of HR or what have you. So we create those spaces for women to have these conversations, and in addition to that, really do the skill building that they need to succeed. And a lot of women, we're hearing the pandemic, I think, has everyone's kind of resetting what's important to them and their priorities. And from a lot of women, we're hearing that they want work that fits into the rest of their life, work, to see not just that work is, rather than them fitting their work into their life, work fits into the rest of their life because it's aligned with their values and what they think is important, right? And it creates a space where they can have more meaning and fulfillment in their roles.
Thank you. Did you want to share something on that, Linda?
Well, actually, when Judy was talking about values, in general in companies, and this is for men and women both, but we had a really successful poll on LinkedIn. We had thousands of people responded, and we were asking people what would make them, because we wanted to know what keeps people at companies, because it was the Great Resignation, right? And we thought, in this time, people were looking for more meaning in their roles, and they wanted to feel more connected with, giving back, or, understanding their contribution. And the number one thing was having their values aligned with their company. And the second thing was feeling connected to the people that they were working with. Those are two things that companies can do to to really keep their employees or attract more employees, is to be very clear about what your values are, and to give opportunities for employees to feel connected to each other, because sometimes people will stay at a company just because of the connection they feel to the other people there.
Well, thank you for that. I'm sure this information is resonating with a lot of folks here today. And before we open it up to questions, or maybe you have a comment or a little bit of insight from your own world that you want to share, because it'll also be shared with the folks that are watching. And I think it's really getting together and communicating. We all help each other. Do you have a website where additional resources are located? So if folks want to learn more and avail themselves to some of the topics that we're talking about, that you can share?
Yeah, so our website is evolveme.work, W-O-R-K, and if you go on there, we've got a blog with a lot of articles. We feature, if you're looking for inspiration, I think we're going to have Jeannie do this. We feature, you'll see a couple Holmdel faces on there, but we feature women that have made it to the other side of career reinvention, because sometimes, we say if you can't see it, you can't be it. We also have, there's a number of free downloads on there, a personal SWOT analysis, a mindset reset, some different downloads that you can take and exercises that you can do to just give you that first step to get going.
Thanks. That's fantastic. So what we'd like to do is open it up to questions or perhaps some comments before we close out our podcast today. And I'll be asking our guests for what is the next big thing in their world of EvolveMe and women's empowerment as far as reimagination. Yes, thank you.
Anyone have any questions?
Or comment?
Okay.
There we go. Thank you, Susan.
Sure. Hi. I think you folks are doing a great job. It's definitely needed to have EvolveMe help women, at that next point in their lives. However, I do know a number of men that need the same services, and I was hoping that you also work with men as well, and because all of the things that you're talking about would be very helpful for someone that's trying to look for, taking their skills and transferring them to another career.
So in our cohorts, we do work with women, although I would say that any of the information on our website would be there's a lot that would be broadly applicable, like some of the downloads, like our career SWOT analysis is a great tool that could be used by men or women. But right now we work with women. But we hear that a lot, honestly. We just starting out, we didn't think that men would want to come to the Linda and Judy show.
But we do events, virtual events where we've done men and women together for networking groups. Actually, a man who led a networking group last spring approached us, and we did some work with him. So there are opportunities. And co-working spaces, we do events with men and women. So yeah, I mean, we post all of the events on our website when we run them. So check out there, because we'll be having some more in the spring and fall.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Yes, I wanted to know, what is the number one thing that you suggest about the gaps? Understanding that there are certain fields that are less tolerant to the big gaps in the resume.
Well, one thing that we are seeing with the resume gaps is that it is becoming so normalized now. That's one, you got to find whatever silver linings you can out of the pandemic. And at this point, we're finding that, honestly, gaps in the resume are becoming very normalized, because so many people did take a break during COVID. Actually, LinkedIn now has a feature that allows you to give that career gap a space on it. So honestly, I think, but in general, if you feel like it's an industry that is less forgiving of that, or really what you want to show them is that you've stayed up to date on what's going on in the industry, that you're curious, that you're constantly learning, that that's what you want to show, is that you haven't really stopped working, and that you're curious and ready to go, and not focus so much on the gap.
Yeah, skate over the gap.
And I just want to share, as a husband and a father, it's not a gap especially raising children. I think, frankly, it's far more involved from logistics, from finance, from every possible business-related piece. It's far more intricate, logistically complicated. So I would hardly characterize, I'm thinking in as far as young children and taking care of children, that's a full-time job, times about 10. So just a shout out to all the folks that are raising their children. That's incredible steel spine work of love and compassion that very often really full-time, a traditional full-time job can't even touch with the level of effort and involvement with it. So I just wanted to share that thought with you. Thank you.
The other thing is, I mean, depending on what industry you're going into, I know that for me, like I came from a Wall Street background, but the work that I'm doing now uses exactly 0% of anything I learned doing that, or I've got a CFA, I don't use that. Everything I'm learning comes from like being a parent and juggling a million things and thinking on my feet and all the nonprofit volunteer work that I did, and it's all those skills that I use now, and I use none of my finance.
So rather than a gap,
really
a gift.
Right, it's a gift.
say.
Right, that's a great take.
Good morning. I just want to share that, so one, our firm, Pashman Stein, is hiring. We're a growing law firm in the state generally, but certainly here in this regional geographic space. So we're looking for assistants, other quality good lawyers. So if you know anyone, we are looking for a marketing person too, by the way. So I wanted to share that. Part, though, what I was relating to in saying about the soft skills is that in interviewing people, and as managing partner, I interview everyone from staff to lateral partners who come in with business, is the soft skills are so important today. So just this week, I interviewed 2 people from one particular assistant space. One person clearly had the resume with the docketed skills of knowing how to, file complaints and particular litigation skills. I think we're going to end up hiring, though, the second person that I interviewed who had the gap space, but was really friendly and warm. And when asked what they were looking for in a business, they spoke to teamwork and being adaptable and having communication skills and working with other people who shared those skills. And that made such a difference in terms of her relatability and having confidence in who she would be in terms of contributing member of the team. So I just want to share that in the workspace, that's a real thing that's happening. And as somebody who's looking for skills, the being able to speak to what it means to be a mom and juggle and how you can bring that into the office. I say embrace it. It's who you are. And when you have confidence in who you are and are selling that, it's so much more than whatever you're going to show up on a resume in terms of book skills or credentials. So just wanted to share that, and also to invite people who may be looking for positions that could serve our firm to reach out to me because we're growing in this space and are so excited to be doing that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you, Tracy, for validating that and also being that company. And having those values.
My question is, what advice would you give to the younger generation that are first starting to kick off their career path to set them on a successful path that maybe they will enjoy for the rest of their life?
So, hi, Alana.
Hello.
Alana's my neighbor. I used to drive her to dance class. So I think, and Judy will chime in too, but you are just on the cusp of like a wild ride, and I'm so proud of you for going, Bella for moving into the city, and you're moving to Colorado. Like that's a big leap there. Keep your eyes open. Like if there's a class, like I know like you're on an engineering track, and so you've got prescribed classes you have to take, but keep your eyes open when you're filling all those other classes to what attracts you. And explore and pay attention to what you like in every class, even if it seems like it has nothing to do with your major. And pay attention to if you don't like your major, because you can change. But pay attention. You're in high school. You have no idea if you want to be a mechanical engineer. I mean, if you do, great. I mean, maybe you're like my son who just never wanted to read a book, so that's why he went into engineering. But, just pay attention to everything. Pay attention, like, do the clubs. See what you like there. Explore as many interests as you can, because now's the time. And keep a little, I don't know, if you have a little notebook or like on notes on your phone, like if you don't like something, make a note of it. If you like something, make a note of it. You'll start to see a pattern, and that will help guide you to what you want to try next.
Yeah, I would echo what Linda said about exploring. I think if you could stay curious for as long as you can, that's really an important skill, and actually, a skill that people are looking for in the workplace right now, because so many people lose their curiosity because they choose a path and then they stick on it, then they can't see anything else interesting outside of that. And so to stay curious and ask questions, right? That's part of being curious, is just ask questions. And be okay with what you don't know, right? That's what, be okay with asking questions and talking to people and exploring, and you don't have to know it all now, right? And you don't have to have it all figured out yet. So I'm excited for you. That's such a wild ride ahead of you, and it's thrilling to think about what's in store for you. So good luck.
Thank you.
So my question was a little bit similar, but as a senior in high school, I know myself and a lot of my friends and students applying to college, when looking at different majors or choosing a career path, a lot of people tend to kind of gravitate towards majors and career paths that are conventionally more financially rewarding. And I'm sure you see that also in adults in their midlife. So how do you recommend kind of getting over that, and maybe realizing that isn't something you actually want to do, but are just doing it for those, as I said, it being more financially rewarding than maybe something you actually enjoy?
So there's a few ways to think about it. First of all, needing to make money is a reality, right? You do want to end up being able to be independent and support yourself and not live in your parents' basement. But there are different ways to spin that, right? So again, pay attention. So let's say finance is what you like, but you're also really drawn to, I don't know, the beauty industry or the entertainment industry or something like that. Pay attention to that. There are ways to weave those things together so that you can have aspects of your career that you enjoy while making use of your skills, right? So that's why really go, don't get locked into other people's expectations if you can, because that happens to a lot of us. I know I was head down, I have to make money and do all that, and I didn't like it. But again, pay attention to all your interests, because there's so many things out there that there are ways to weave in the things that you like and the purpose you're looking for into something that you can get paid to do.
Yeah.
And you don't need to make, hundreds of thousands of dollars right out of college. Like Judy said, it's a journey. So, experiment, because whatever that first job you're taking is not, people have what? By the time they're 40 or 50, have
12
different
different jobs.
12 different jobs.
By the time they're 50, you'll have 12 different jobs
So
at
try
least.
something.
So,
if you don't like it, you guys are smart. Try something. If you don't like it,
You
try
can move
something
on.
else. But when you do move on, make sure that and everybody that you interview with and everybody you work with, keep in touch with all of them. It's so easy to do now with LinkedIn. Keep all those connections, because you don't know where those people are going to end up working. So that's another piece of advice I would give you throughout this whole process. Keep in touch with your professors. Keep in touch with your people you do internships with, and follow where those people go.
And I'd say at my age, there's few people who've their first job is the thing that they're doing now, or the field that they're doing now. I mean, I feel like I'm kind of rare in that way, because I just decided I want to be in the nonprofit sector, and then I stayed there, but it also limited me because I thought I couldn't do anything else by the time I was this age. But yeah, there's choices that you can make along the way. I agree with Linda, that can align all of your interests. I never thought that I could do something kind of more around my values and my mission in the for-profit sector, and I realized oh yeah, I can. I'm a social entrepreneur now, a mission-driven entrepreneur. So it doesn't have to be even I think there's more even intersection between different industries now, between business and government and the social sector. So I think there's lots of ways that you can craft your own idea of what success looks like for you, you know. It's exciting.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm on the other side of this. My wife works, and she's pretty much makes a good living doing what she does, and I'm on the other side of this, and I have to make sure I'm near the home to pick up the children from daycare, and not daycare, but from school. So what advice would you give to a man who's on that same journey, and it's just flipped for me? It's like, yeah. Thank you.
Sure. Sure. One is, well, I would find, I mean, there probably are other men like you who are doing what you're doing now. So if there's a way that you can find other men in, you know, a similar situation, it sounds like that could be difficult, right? So I would if you are wanting to get back into the workforce, I would carve out time to think about, you know, what accomplishments that you've had across your career. It sounds like you are trying to get back into the workforce. Is that, or yeah? Can you explain a little bit more of what you want?
My situation is I started a company 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago, and it's a marketing company, and I haven't really been able to get it launched because of COVID.
Right.
Not just for that. I mean, I haven't been able to get it going, and I'm trying to work, and I'm trying to look for at least a part-time job just to make ends meet, and because of the situation we're in, but it's just like I haven't been able to. I did my resume. I recently started my job search.
Okay.
And it's been on hold for a while, but
right. So I guess the number one way that people get jobs now, whether it's freelance, part-time roles, is through connections. Right. So I think that your best bet, your first, you know, really good step would be to go back to some of the people that you've worked with in the past and start having conversations with them. So go back to, because people never forget you or the quality of work that you've done if you've worked with them, you know, even 5, 10, 20 years ago. So I would, you know, if you sounds like you have a resume. So if you are on LinkedIn, that's also a really good step to spend time just, you know, just building out your LinkedIn profile, because people will want to connect with you that way. So that's, yeah.
Would you be interested?
Thank you very much for that.
Would you potentially work with me or not, or do you have? I had to take a break for the restroom, but
yeah, we have.
Do you have services at all?
Right. So we can, we'd love to talk to you. We can connect with you like offline, like, you know, after the event. And we have some resources of people and ideas to connect you with people who can get you on your feet.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that question.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jeannie,
Sure.
go ahead.
Anyone else? Any other questions?
I want to thank everyone for all your questions and also all your comments. As we wrap up, I wanted to ask either or both of you in the workplace with reimagining, empowering, leveling up, what's the next big thing in your world?
So we kind of have two sides to our business. So for us, so I'll do one side, you do the other. So we're just finishing up our 6th cohort of the Reinvention Collective, which is our signature program for women. It's a 12-week online program, and we have just been overwhelmed by the number of women that are just like landing jobs in crazy companies and launching their businesses coming out of this. So we're really excited. The next big thing, I guess, will be our fall Reinvention Collective that'll start in October.
Yeah, and then the other side of our business is we work with companies, again, to support their efforts to bring back women into the workforce and also, you know, retain the women that they have. So we are building out our work with companies, especially around, you know, the connections that women need with each other and building out mentoring opportunities for companies to engage with us and bring us in to help facilitate workshops and sessions to really make sure that the women that are working there are happy and satisfied and will stay.
Well, actually, locally, we just finished up a workshop series with Ocean First.
Yes, that was wonderful.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
Well, it's a great shout out to all the companies that are here in Bell Works. Go to bell.works It's open. Come down to the block of the Metro Burb, and we want to thank them for hosting this wonderful, wonderful space for the Holmdel Chamber of Commerce. You can follow us on Facebook at Facebook /Holmdel Chamber. And don't forget to come to Barbella, because I'm sure there's some great networking going there on Thursday nights. It's a fantastic place. Thank you so much for the information today. It was really great, empowering to everyone from every generation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Terrence,
much.
you're
This
such
is
a good host.
Oh, thank you.
This is
really
awesome.
are.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. and
Take care, everyone.
thank you,
Have a
Jeannie.
wonderful afternoon, and thank you again. And thank you so much for coming
Thanks,
from the
everybody.
schools. Take care. Bye-bye.